What? What if your government tries to throw you in a can? What? You're gonna want a shotgun. Oh. What? An automatic rifle and a lot of ammo. Good.
We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They'll burn you out like a Waco. They'll stick your ass in a camp. Jackbooted cops in riot gear, gonna kick your ass and laugh. The revolution is on its way. Better lock and load your AK. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They gave your money to the banksters. They stole your pension funds. It's time that we took to the streets. It's time we had our turn. A revolution is on its way, and the founding fathers would say, buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. You got a riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat. You got a riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat. You gotta drag 'em through the streets.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is Tuesday. We are live, finally. This is PrimerTime on UCY.TV. My name is Michael, and I don't have a dossier.
Yeah, my name is Nicholas. It's good to be back after about a 3-week hiatus. And I'll tell you what, I have not been launching any intercontinental ballistic missiles.
I'll tell you, world's kind of like gone crazy in the last couple of weeks that we weren't here. One of the craziest things is Jules. My God, I'm glad she's around.
It is better than the alternative, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So anybody out there, you got a couple shekels you can throw her way. Hit up the PayPal on the UCY homepage. Buy something from Amazon, and set her as a designee. Glad you're back, ma'am. Seriously, had everybody really scared.
Yeah, we are happy that you have walked out the other side of this. Hopefully, no worse for the wear.
Absolutely, fairly rare and fairly lucky.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
strokes
are not something to mess with. I was a witness to a family member back when I was 13. Your grandfather on your father's side having a stroke, and that was scary.
There.
Yeah, I know you weren't there.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah. I'm really happy I wasn't there for that.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been out of the loop for a little while. Lots of things have happened. Lots of things have gone on. We've had a 4th of July weekend that came and went. Like I said, I alluded to the launch of the intercontinental ballistic missile that may or may not have been a ballistic missile. We just don't know because there's no telemetry to suggest that this thing actually re-entered the atmosphere from North Korea.
Yeah, they were talking about that earlier today. They were saying that it possibly did not re-enter because it wasn't strong enough to withstand the heat.
Yeah, so and this is one of those things that trained analysts, which I thanks to Hooked on Phonics today, I are one. When we take a look at images, and other government agencies take a look at images, we look for certain things that the pictures tell us. And, lack of a heat shield might be an indicator that this thing may not be able to re-enter the atmosphere.
So they basically got the technology, which is really, it's ancient technology in the end. I mean, Robert Goddard was putting rockets up in the early 30s and the late 20s. So they've capitalized on that technology, and the world quakes in fear because we are all scared of an army that is, 7 inches shorter on average than their South Korean counterparts, of people who cannot feed their entire nation 3 times a day, so they supplement with amphetamines, state-produced amphetamines. one car for every like 1,400 people. Yeah, I don't understand the great big fear. I really don't.
Yeah, like I said, it's not so much the problem with the individual. It's more along the lines of the problems with the institutions. And North Korea does have a formidable military. They do have over 1 million active duty uniformed service members.
Because there's no other jobs in North Korea.
Hey, there's a lot of jobs. You ever see how many people they can get in one spot to do those parades and to do the celebrations? That's a lot of people, man.
Yeah. Do you think they get paid for that?
I think they get paid with their life.
I love the great leader. I love
Yeah. So and somebody's got to field a basketball team every time Dennis Rodman wants to go over there.
Oh, come on now. I mean, all right. So that's basically the last time we were on was when the auto warm beer was released in comatose state after the arrival of secret agent Dennis Rodman into
and then very shortly thereafter, auto became room temperature beer.
Yeah, he was. I don't know, man. Look, if you go to a foreign country, play by their rules. Don't steal their propaganda posters.
Never mind the fact, don't go to a country that still believes it is at war with us.
That's another good hint. I mean, you really can't overlook that one.
Yeah, that might not have been the best
vacation,
decision.
folks.
Yeah, that might not have been the best decision made. In that thought process, probably started out somewhere in there.
I find it very interesting that Otto's family did not want any kind of autopsy done.
Well, in that situation, there's not really a whole lot that an autopsy would have shown, because when you take into the factors of his fairly young age, his physical condition prior to going, and the lack of the evidence to prove that there was some kind of exposure to botulinum toxin or botulism, there's really only a couple things that can.
I think a good autopsy would show that. I think it'd show antigens in the blood. It would show like cerebral swelling. It would show it would show
cracked skull.
Cracked skull. I mean, we never even got to look at certain things you can tell right off. Like, all right, cracked skull. Does he have like raccoon eyes? Are they old raccoon eyes? That's a basilar skull fracture. That comes from being beat about the head robustly.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that if you happen to see the only photo that was released upon him being repatriated to the United States, they didn't wheel him into the hospital on a gurney. A hospital, a hospital employee of some kind lifted him out like he was semi-conscious. He put his arms around his chest and lifted him out from the vehicle from behind his back. This is somebody who is near death. You would have expected him to be wheeled out on a gurney.
I would expect him on a gurney. I mean, just with my shallow expertise, I would have expected a gurney and probably, oxygen.
Yeah, on some kind of assisted breathing device, something. So.
Yeah, I don't think.
In other news, we have the 47th rumor of the demise of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
Right. This is like the third or fourth, maybe the fifth time he's died.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and I want to know: are they going to make the headstone say Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, or is it going to say Elliot Shimon?
You never know. You just got to figure out if it's got the Star of David or if it has the crescent moon on it.
I think he'll probably have one of each. And, in 20 years, there'll probably be an Elliot Shimon statue in Israel.
Yeah. Because
I find it interesting that ISIS screams about how it hates Israel, blah, 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 completely, but they're awfully chummy with Israel. Injured ISIS soldiers end up in Israeli hospitals.
I don't have anything on that, but
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the stories on that. I've seen stories of Syrians finding munitions caches, ISIS munition caches that are all Hebrew. It's all Israeli manufactured stuff or United States gifted stuff to Israel.
No,
Yeah.
like I said, you never know.
You never know, and we're not going to find out probably.
No
Because
time. At no time
we
soon.
have to worry about the cahoots.
Yeah. Well, so we did have a national tragedy that occurred today, and I'm not talking about anything that had to do with Russia. I'm talking about the aerial refueling aircraft, Marine Corps KC-130 that crashed in Mississippi. We lost quite a few American service members, in the conduct of their duties and performance of their duties. So that's not good. Our hearts go out to those guys, their families.
Yeah, it's hard to lose them, especially I guess you almost kind of expect that there's the risk, when they go to war, but I think it's almost doubly stinging when they die at home.
Yeah, definitely.
And interestingly enough, we were discussing this earlier. You were telling me the difference in the designations among the planes, because I was under the impression that this was a fueling plane, but it had room for quite a few passengers on it, and I wasn't aware that was. But you broke down how those planes are classified.
Yeah, so within the Department of Defense, we have different designations for every piece of equipment that we have. The Army usually puts an M in front of something. The Navy has their ships with the U.S., either USS or USNS designation. But then that goes even further down into breaking it down for things like guided missile destroyers, which have the designation of DDG. Aircraft carriers are CVNs for nuclear carriers. The old carriers were just CVs. So things like that. Aircraft are a little interesting because the first letter of the designator gives you their overall role. So when you talk about a refueling plane, the first thing you're going to hear is K. The K designation indicates a refueler. C is a cargo aircraft. So for cargo aircraft, you have C-130s, the C-141 old retired Starlifter, the C-17 Globemaster, the C-5 is the Globemaster. Then you break it even further down. When you're talking about offensive airframes, you have the M designation, which stands for Special Forces. So if you have an MC-130, it's a Special Forces or Special Operations, what they call it a Combat Talon. This is a C-130 that's outfitted with all kinds of goodies on it. You have designations like A for attack, F for fighter, B for bomber, those kinds of things. So it can kind of give you an idea what type of plane you're talking about whenever you see it. The A series, we haven't seen a pure A series aircraft probably since the late Vietnam War with the A7s, the A8s, which those are also vertical takeoff, so they have a designator of a V. So you'll have a Harrier, which is often used in the Marine Corps. It will be AV8, and it's usually the B model. So you just, like I said, this is something that I've been doing for the last 22 years, and it's just something that's kind of committed to memory at this point.
Yeah, it becomes shop talk. Same thing happens to people in the firearms industry, people in the computer industry, in the electronics industry, in the medical industry. It becomes shop talk, and we kind of like to maybe get around the shop talk and give a little bit more information on it. And speaking of kind of shop talk, we've got another story on the designator on an M designator, and that would be the M17 and 18 pistols. And this is part of the Army pistol contract. And recently, the SIG 320 was chosen. And the SIG 320 is a double action polymer frame pistol. SIG's had it on the market for probably about 6 years. And its overall design is a little bit different. It's got an internal chassis that's actually the registered firearm. It's right. It's not necessarily the lower frame. So it's got like the trigger group and a couple other pieces in it. That's actually the registered piece. And the theory is you could take that registered piece out and then buy your shorter slide or your shorter grip or your compact grip, and you could have 15 guns in one. Well,
hence the modular designation. You know what I mean?
Right. And the United States military, the United States Army, chose the SIG 320 to attain the M17 and M18 designations. And I believe that's the two differences are going to be, one is going to be a compact, I believe.
Yeah, certainly. And that's one of the things is that the Army's pistol system has to be able to accommodate, a shooter or an operator with different size palm. So going from everything from a very slight female to a very large burly male.
They all have to be able to use the same thing. We saw that Beretta tried to remedy that situation with the M93 and M93A1, which was the basically it was almost a copy of the 92 FS, except for it had a very, very slim grip, and then it met all the other features that the military wanted, such as the desert tan color and rail system for lights and add-ons and stuff like that. Military eliminated the Beretta from the competition early. And so in the end, it was basically down to the SIG 320 and Glock's entry. And I've seen pictures of the Glock entry. It's a nifty looking thing. And SIG came in $100 million less than Glock. And that's the reason we're being given right now. And there's been all kinds of consternation. There are lawsuits in progress.
Yeah, there's different challenges being thrown up both by Steyr. I think Glock threw a challenge up. Lots of different.
I think Glock has got the meat of the challenge, though. And something I find to be very interesting is, this contract calls for the pistol and it's certain the features that they want on this pistol. And the contract also calls for magazines. And I believe that's where the contention between Glock and SIG is, because I believe Glock figured in the cost of the magazines with their proposal, and SIG did not. And yeah, I could see $100 million on SIG magazines easy. That probably gets you 12 of them.
Yeah,
because SIG magazines are not cheap. And no SIG magazine is cheap for anything that they have currently. Like I have a SIG 938. I really like those things. It's a real compact 9mm single stack, single action. It to me, it's like a baby Browning high power. People like to compare it to a 1911. To me, it's closer to a high power in its function. A design I'm quite used to. SIG ships these pistols with one magazine. So if you want an extra magazine, you're looking at. I have not seen one magazine for this thing any less than $39, $35 maybe.
No, I'll tell you what. We've got the Gander Mountain in my area that's getting ready to go out of business, and if they even had any kind of magazines, they'd still be probably costing more than they would at normal price with their discount applied.
That's kind of something else we should probably touch on. The Gander Mountain going out of business and then reopening up under a new name. I believe they're called Mountain Outdoors or something like that now.
No. Gander Mountain has been bought by Camping World.
Camping World. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Camping World is liquidating all of the assets and then will at some point move in with their RVs. And that's primarily what Camping World does.
Right. And I was under the impression that they were going to take the existing Gander locations and rename them something about outdoors. But like you said, the whole Gander going out of business, 50% off everything means they raised 60%.
Yeah.
They raised the price by 75% before they took the 50% off. And
that's what a lot of people are seeing. Yeah.
And it did not apply to firearms. It did not apply to ammunition. It did not apply to magazines. It did not apply to scopes or any other firearm parts. So, Gander Mountain just continued to, that's why you went out of business. Seriously. Straight up.
It's a failed business model. Their customer service was horrible. Knowledge of the staff was atrocious. And, product selection. There wasn't anything spectacular. There was nothing ever available.
It didn't have anything that nobody else had.
Exactly. There was no exclusivity. They were not their, sole purveyors of anything spectacular. And the only thing was is that it may have been convenient for certain people in certain towns to go there. Because instead of buying something from Cabela's or buying something from Bass Pro, because when it comes down to it, aside from the mom and pops, you have Cabela's and you have Bass Pro that are the two remaining things. And then, there's Cabela's and Bass Pro, one in the same almost.
And I believe Cabela's and Bass Pro are the same company now.
Exactly.
So really that leaves in my area, I've got
or Academy.
Academy. And I mean, honest with you, I mean, the only thing I buy at Academy really is I buy pocket knives when they go on sale. I buy ammunition, and I like Academy's jeans. They make a pair of jeans called Magellan, and they're just as good as Levi's or anything, and they're like $19. I mean, for Christ's sakes, a pair of Levi's now is $75.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, there's other online retailers out there, besides Brownells. Brownells is always something good, But when it comes to,
I've had excellent luck with Midway USA, and really, I shouldn't say luck because they have excellent customer service. They really do, and I think they're not the cheapest by far, but they do their damnedest to take care of their customers. And something I was noticing, and I'm sure you might have noticed it too, but maybe not as much because you were out of town at the time. But when all the unpleasantness of 2012, 2013 happened, and going into 14 and 15, all the other online retailers like Cheaper Than Dirt,
Dick's,
kind of screwed everybody. Dick's,
Yeah.
the appropriately named company, kind of screwed everybody. And Midway USA did not. What they did do was limit purchases, but those limited purchases were to prevent, or I shouldn't say prevent hoarding, but it was to ensure that
there was enough inventory to go around.
Right. And so, they were limited to maybe 2 magazines or whatever back when the rush was really on, but you could buy them from them.
Yeah.
They didn't put their prices up crazy.
Say again?
They didn't even raise their prices in a crazy fashion. I mean, I don't even think their price raises were even commensurate with anybody else's. Because let's reference Cheaper Than Dirt again. I mean, Cheaper Than Dirt was selling C Products AR-15 magazines, the standard NATO magazine made out of metal, and I guess it's the current follower pattern or whatever. It's nothing special. I mean, it's a functional magazine, but that thing sells for what? Between $7 and $12, right?
Oh, I think the P mags are now being sold for $12 at Gander.
That doesn't surprise me because you can get P mags at Academy for like $9. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But Cheaper Than Dirt was the kind of company that took that $7 magazine when it was on sale, maybe $11 normal price or whatever, and they jacked those things up to like $130.
Yeah.
And supply's back, and
that's a good thing. I'm seeing advertisements come in every day from whether
really
it's Kentucky Gun Company or Palmetto State folks that actually produce their own stamp on things, even though there's only what 4 different forges that are out there churning out aluminum billets.
Right.
So I get in the ads from Palmetto State twice a day in some cases.
Are you just floored by some of those deals from Palmetto?
I saw an advertisement from Palmetto yesterday, complete lower for $99. But that one floored me.
I've seen in the past couple of weeks, I've seen an AR-15, and Palmetto State's got different levels of AR-15s, right? And so I'm sure it was their entry level, maybe their cheapest mil spec AR-15, but it was an AR-15 and a good quality 9mm handgun and magazines for each one for like $700.
Yeah. Well, in our weekly ISIS watch, we've got a soldier of the 25th Infantry Division, of which I am formerly a member of, having been picked up by the FBI for having
25th
pledged.
Infantry Division is the guys that have the lightning bolt on the patch.
Yeah, yeah, we are the Tropic Lightning Division. So they have these guys are based at Schofield Barracks in the center of the island of Oahu. It's a division of probably about 19,000 soldiers, and one of them
It's a
got picked up
division
by
with
the
with
FBI.
a severe history. I mean, it's got a serious history, that division. I mean, they had a
Yeah,
lot of combat in Vietnam.
yeah, they definitely had a lot of combat in Vietnam, but they were actually born from the 24th Division, and they were the Army of Hawaii, and they actually they were brought into World War II in a baptism by fire by the Japanese. So they went across the Pacific on island hopping campaign, and then through Vietnam, and then through the reformative years post Vietnam, and then starting off in 2000, 2001, 2003, and then 2005, 2006, 2007, and all the way up till.
I'm guessing they also probably sent them back in the '90s too. When we hit Iraq the first time.
No, actually, 25th didn't go. That was one of the things that it was considered. It was considered a safe duty assignment. But that all changed after September 11th, and it happened to be for a period of time. It happened to be one of the most deployed divisions in the Army. The 10th Mountain Division, I still believe, holds that record, closely followed by the 101st and the 82nd. That's because in the 18th Airborne Corps out of Fort Bragg and out of the East Coast, there's not a lot to do. So they're going to send you places. You're going to get a chance to see the world.
We suggest going to Texas or Kentucky.
Yeah. So, this individual is pretty dumb. He's a 34-year-old. The FBI released a 26-page affidavit basically detailing a year-long investigation into his extremist views with his, complete with his intention to provide material assistance to include training and what they call after-action reviews. So this guy is he's gonna go to the Gray Bar Hotel for a long time.
Well, does it happen to give what his rank is?
So they never really do that, but you can kind of infer from the age that and his duty status that he was more than likely a non-commissioned officer, probably a junior non-commissioned officer, either a sergeant or a staff sergeant.
So that's kind of interesting.
So his actual position wasn't something that you would automatically expect to be a person who becomes disaffected with his job and wants to take his tactical training. He's an air traffic controller, or was an air traffic controller, stationed at Wheeler Army Airfield, which is adjacent to the Schofield Barracks.
That's kind of a dangerous job for a person who does not like the United States to be put into. Because I mean, seriously, all he's got to do is crash a couple of planes. Send him
bad info, right?
Well, there's been talk of GPS spoofing, and I remember reading years ago that one of the great threats the United States was really, really fearful of was North Korea, Iran, ISIS, whoever the bad guy of the week is, Bin Laden, Hitler, whatever, whichever guy you want, was going to be able to spoof the GPS system and change altitudes and change it by like 100 feet, something that it wouldn't necessarily notice, and it would just cause nothing but plane crashes all day.
Well, you bring up an interesting case talking about technology that's there to either interfere with our GPS guidance systems or block their effectiveness. What do you know about Slovakia?
It was part of Yugoslavia or something, and Eastern Europe, and turmoil and war in the 90s.
Lots of communist style buildings, right?
Right, yeah, gray concrete, and yeah, they make some pretty women there.
Okay, so Slovakia a few years back, when they actually declared war on the United States during the bombing of Serbia, and to which they, by the way, are a NATO member. Yeah,
we make everybody a NATO member.
Oh, I don't know. Ukraine's not there yet.
Turkey's there.
Well, Turkey was there because it was different times. Turkey was there to be a buffer against the Soviets and the socialists in Greece.
I don't know, man. I think those days are long gone. And I'm truly tired of hearing about Russia being the greatest threat to the United States. Like these people, you forget about China. Like them 2 billion people over there. You totally forgot about them. You're worried about Putin because he doesn't like gays. The hell,
yeah,
and he meddled in our elections, blah blah. Shit, seriously, Time magazine, from 1992 or 1993, yanks to the rescue. Look that up. It's a picture of Boris Yeltsin, and on the cover of Time magazine, how the United States saved Russia's election. Come on now, we do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, it's not like we haven't meddled in the last administration and other elections, like, I don't know, maybe the Obama administration sending a lot of money to Israel to try and upset the reelection of Netanyahu.
Well, and like Israel didn't do the same thing. I mean, Netanyahu came and spoke in front of the Congress.
No, he was invited. You can thank John Boehner for that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I got some serious issues with all those guys who stood up and applauded. I think every single fucking one of them were traitors, and I think they all need the fucking rope.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
I said it. I said it. And I'll say it again if it comes down to it. They're not working for us. Every one of them is an Israel firster. I mean, look, you hear something on the news, and it says high-ranking Republicans say something about Trump. And it's going to be Lindsey Graham and John McCain.
Yeah. Well, so here we are. We are, what is this? Almost the middle of July. This is. I think you could call this officially the dog days of summer.
Dude, it is so hot. It's not even funny.
Yeah, we had upwards of 90 degrees today, and it got me thinking. The whole thing about going out in the summer is getting out to go shoot.
And today it was too damn hot to do that. And honestly, it's been too damn hot to go outside and shoot here, at least for me in my comfort level for about the past 3 months. And that kind of like leaves, only an indoor range that's about 60 miles away from me. And they've got an air conditioner, an air filtration system. But, every time I go there, it's 60, $70.
Oh, yeah.
It's just too damn ugly hot here. And I mean, even though we haven't had a ton of rain, it's still fairly humid. And Christ, when we did have some rain about a week ago. Oh my God, the mosquitoes, dude! We should talk about the effectiveness of the 410 shotgun shell.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Out here where I'm at, we haven't had rain probably for about a good 2 weeks. And it's killing some of my vegetables because I'm not able to water them during the day. But like you're saying, right now our problem is the no-see-ums, the dreaded no-see-ums. They seem only to want to attack you around the foot and ankle, and you just know that as soon as you walk outside and you come back inside, you're going to about having 7 different welts. And my wife last night scored her first kill of the season, and it happened to be a mosquito on the wall. And not only did she get it, but when she got it, it sprayed blood on the wall.
I've got kind of a horrible story about that as well. My truck had a problem in the last week, so I ended up having to replace a power steering pump and the power steering pump cooler, which I did not even know existed. But in that time, I was leaking fluid, but I mean, I can still drive the vehicle. I just have to go dump a quart of fluid into it. And I have to walk across a yard to get to the truck, because I'm renting a little place right now. And, prior to the move, so I got to walk across an empty lot to get there. And it was painful popping open the hood of the truck and trying to fill that thing up and then getting into the truck. I was covered in mosquitoes. I would wipe my arm and it looked like a slaughter.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I probably look like the biggest redneck because the other day I was outside working in the yard and I insisted on wearing a pair of my French Army socks up to my knees with sandals and shorts. I looked like I was ready for the nursing home.
You know what? Keep your fashion tips to yourself at this point. That's just bad. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm tired. I'm tired of sweating through everything. I mean, like take off the clothes and it's just dripping. Like I could like create a puddle with my shirt. It's gross.
Well, that's funny because you remember I started listening to the show when I was in Korea, and July and August in Korea is routine that you will go to work in one set of uniforms, go home, and you'll go back to your room at lunch and change into the next set of uniforms because you have completely sweat soaked through everything, and that is not the most pleasant feeling in the world.
It's now. You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of waking up, even with 2 air conditioners on in this little place. I'm tired of waking up in a puddle of sweat.
Yeah,
just I got to go to someplace that's got like a not deadly climate.
Yeah.
Which
well,
really
I heard that. I heard
that. I feel kind of like a wimp, right? Because you got to think about the guys who settled this area, before electricity and air conditioning. How did they do it? No, they all died at 28.
Yeah. Well, I did see a news report, and the state of Nevada has declared an emergency as they are running low on their state supply of medical marijuana.
You know what? That's very interesting that you bring that up, because it's not necessarily a firearms topic, but it goes to show like government intervention. And this was recently passed. This proposition was passed like in 2016, and they instituted it fairly rapidly in Nevada. But one of the things that they did was the transportation to supply the vendors was that position was given to the existing alcohol distributors in the state, and they have a monopoly on the distribution for 18 months.
Wow. Aren't monopolies illegal? Isn't there some antitrust thing there?
Yeah, but this is the state giving the monopoly, and they gave the monopoly to the beer company. So, I don't think you have enough lawyers to fight that one.
Yeah.
But reading that, it said that in response to this crisis, the state was going to bump up its issuance of licenses to retailers. So there's actually going to be like more retailers rapidly than they may have screwed themselves. The anti-legalization forces. And I mean, honestly, we've got to like look at this logically. The city of Houston and Harris County, the county that Houston resides in, just recently made it. It's a ticketable offense. It's no longer a jailable offense. Anything up to, I believe it's a quarter pound of marijuana, like 3 ounces, 4 ounces. And you get a ticket and you have to go to a drug education class. And they say that move is going to save $90 million just in the city of Houston. And they can't really calculate what it would be throughout the rest of the county. Something that grows naturally, has no record of death among any of its users from the product, should not have the force of $90 million worth of convictions behind it in one local area. I mean, we're looking at like crime statistics in the United States, and it's recently it was like one arrest for that like every 34 seconds or something in the United States. I believe that the greatest risk to that user is not from the item, it's from the enforcement.
Yeah. Well, since we're an equal opportunity radio show, we wanted to give some shout outs to prominent Latino comedian George Lopez. Did you see what George Lopez said?
No, I didn't see. I don't necessarily like George Lopez. To me, keep your ball. Just tell jokes about Mexicans, dude.
Yeah, so I'm of the same opinion, but he recently said that the police were going to step up deportations to keep Americans safe, and he said that they needed to deport the police. uh, this is a guy who's probably benefited from the fact that police are there at his shows. Police are there to
But
provide for his security.
They patrol his gated community he lives in.
Exactly. So that's a little bit of the entitlement mentality that goes on. Yeah, there's
I know.
you shake your head when you hear that.
With the police right now on certain thing, and recently had the guy in Minneapolis. He was a licensed carrier, and he was shot. He didn't do anything. His car got pulled over for the tail light not working thing, and excuse me, he informed the officer that he had license to carry, and the officer asked to see his permit, and he reached for the permit, and the officer shot him 5 times, and discharged a total of 7 or 8 rounds, and one, they don't know where the extras went, and one apparently missed a child in the back seat by small amount.
Yeah, this is the Philando Castile shooting from Minneapolis, right. I believe. Yeah,
and I've got I got a real serious problem with the NRA. It's supposed to be standing up for the rights of everybody, and here we got a guy who was, he had a carry permit. He was, by all accounts, he was a good guy. He worked at a school. The kids at the school loved him. I guess he worked in the cafeteria or something, and he's part of, you remember what school cafeteria was like. I mean, that lady's kind of like a part of your life,
Right.
And he was in there. Kids loved him, and he got shot. And the NRA is just completely silent over this, and to me, it's really, really disturbing. I mean, he couldn't have done anything. He couldn't have done anything more correctly.
No, I mean,
he informed the officer. The firearm wasn't in his lap or anything. The firearm was secured. He had proper identification. He didn't mouth off to the cop or anything. And I find the NRA's just silence on this to be deafening. It's another reason why I got no use for the NRA. I mean, really, I won't give them any money.
But the NRA has a use for you.
Oh, absolutely. What is it? You may not be interested in war, but war is interested in you.
There you go. So yeah, and I don't know if you're aware of this. Today, there was a explosion at a U.S. Air Force recruiting station, seemingly of a pipe bomb that blew the front door off the recruiting center.
Yeah, I heard about that early this morning, and then that's kind of been swept under the rug, with Trump Jr. and his tweets that everybody's having a goddamn conniption fit over. But we've seen Army recruiting stations or military recruiting stations be targeted by these domestic terrorists in the past, and it's usually been somebody who's not necessarily affiliated with any kind of real terrorist organization. It's just been kind of a wacko.
Well, that's not actually the case. We have had more than a few shootings at the recruiting stations that end up being somebody who pledges allegiance to the terrorist group du jour.
Yeah, they say they pledged allegiance on Facebook.
Yeah, because that's the quickest way to get their stuff out there. But there was the ones in Tennessee, there was the ones in Arkansas. These are events that took the lives of service members. These aren't just some benign incidents. We're losing service members.
I'm not trying to say that it's benign, but I don't think that it's truly the mark of the ghost of al-Baghdadi did not come and do this.
No. I mean, these are disaffected individuals who believe that they will get their 15 minutes of fame just by doing something.
Exactly. It's a copycat kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's a spectacular attack.
And I don't know. I'd almost say by publicizing it gives them more power. It gives them exactly what they're looking for. I mean, I don't like to reference movies a whole lot, but there was a movie pre 9/11 called The Siege with Denzel Washington as an FBI agent and John McClane. What's John McClane? Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis was the military.
What's John McClane's name?
What's John McClane's name? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bruce Willis was the general, and premise of the story is there's a bus bombing, or there's a series of terrorist attacks.
There's a kidnapping. There's a kidnapping on the bus.
Right, and
hostage event.
Hostage, and ends up destroying the bus, and New York goes under martial law. But in that movie, the terrorists waited to explode the bus until you could see outside that there was all the news helicopters around.
Yeah, and certainly.
I kind of feel that this is similar. This is very similar. That you publicize and you really create like the aura and the atmosphere of fear that usually surrounds something like that. And in today's media, which is just pure and complete total fucking garbage, they'll hype this up and honestly, I don't think it does any good for anybody. And all it does is serve to create more of these copycat terrorists. And
yeah,
I'd like to say that they're somewhat responsible for these things.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's see here. We've got we've got some new laws that have come into effect here in the local area. One of the greatest laws that is going to generate a little bit of income for the state is going to be that people driving in our left lanes are now going to be cited $100 for slowing the flow of traffic. Because you know what, when I think about income and revenue generators for the state, it's going to be because we got too many people driving slow in the fast lane.
Right, and I mean, you're lucky that they're not like trying to nail you for like overwatering your lawn or something.
Well, that's California.
We're about to get the law here in the state of Texas where I think it's going to pass where we're not going to have the ability to text in the vehicle anymore. And in a lot of places that's good. I'm in a fairly rural part of Texas. I am using the Big Mac index. I am 26 miles away from the nearest Walmart.
Oh man, that's 30 minutes.
Shit, man. Yeah, 30 minutes, 40 minutes,
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's a lot of open driving. Like, I'm not like hitting a stop sign, like every, half mile or anything. And I think, it's a good idea overall. I think it's going to be totally ignored in the rural parts. I think people are still going to be doing it.
Yeah. Oh well, we are like I said, what, 4 weeks since we've been on air? It seems like an eternity.
It really has. I mean, and life got in the way. I mean, well, last week you had 4th of July, and it was probably one of the last 4th of Julys that you're going to have as a family. I mean, your family's growing, and kids are graduating and stuff, and move on and all that. So I'm glad you got to have that last little family get together kind of a thing. That was really neat.
Yeah, and speaking of, I don't think we got a chance to talk about it. We had the military aspect of my service was celebrated at Disney. I was the veteran of the day on the 17th of June. Basically led the retreat ceremony, and Disney made a pretty big deal out of retiring the flag, and I was the veteran that assisted with that. And Disney, I will say to their credit, the staff at Disney World went out of their way to make sure that my family had the everything we needed that day. To include, they comped us the day. They provided us a photo package with every photo that we took at Disney World and any of the associated parks. They really hit the ball out of the park. So, Walt Disney, you done good, man. You done good.
Well, yeah, but I mean, how many war movies does Disney make, and end up with the with the assistance of the Department of Defense, to make this.
Oh, wow.
You're their bread and butter, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll tell you what. I was in the 3rd Infantry Division, the Marne Division, and Walt Disney and his animators designed Rocky the Bulldog, which was our mascot. So, there's a long partnership that's there.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people like in the know would say that like TV news and TV entertainment and mass media entertainment like that is just really just another arm of the military industrial complex.
Right. Well, you gotta have somebody to be able to put Donald Duck up there making the anti-Japanese cartoons.
Oh man, I'll tell you.
Can you even find those? Can you even find those anymore?
Actually, you know what? You can, and you can go on YouTube and put in banned cartoons, and you'll have a whole bunch of those, like especially World War II cartoons that are by no means acceptable today. I'd almost like to show a couple of these cartoons to some of the people who scream the loudest, about the social justice issue, that they are not just picking on you. We pick on everybody equally. If you happen to be the enemy, we are going to dehumanize you, make you look like a rat. That's just the way it is.
Well, there you go. There you go. So we gotta hit some firearm safety.
All right. Well, it's been a while. All right. So the first rule of firearm safety, every firearm is loaded until you physically and visually inspect and ensure that it is not loaded. Rule number 2 is keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Don't cover anything you don't wish to destroy with the muzzle. Rule number 3 is know what your target is, know what's beyond your target at all times. And the fourth and final, and probably should be the first rule, but it's way more dramatic to say it this way, is keep the booger hook off the bang switch until you are ready to discharge the weapon. There are no accidental discharges. Every one of those that is termed accidental is actually negligence.
Yeah. Well,
give the anti-gun forces any kind of ammunition, any kind of help to take away our rights. Because
we got to figure out how to call them something other than anti-gun. Should we call them,
I think the term is
gun prohibition?
I think the term is hoplophobe, is what the term is.
There you go.
Really, I believe that term was coined by the what was his name? Gunsight Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of what his name is. I'll be embarrassed because I'll remember as soon as we're done. Colonel Cooper. Colonel Cooper, I think, is the person who came up with the term hoplophobe, and it's just somebody's got an irrational fear of firearms. And we've all one of the things that cracked me up is I saw somebody had posted on Facebook. They had a whole bunch of drill bits, the itty bitty tiny drill bits that the ones that you fit like in the little holder that you stick in the drill, and you buy a full of them things for like $3-4 or whatever. Somebody had found them in a parking lot, and what kind of assault rifle did these come from? I can't believe that people would leave these dangerous things out. I mean, it was drill bits. So, I mean, there's just a crazy amount of...
Those are the RIP drill bits.
Yeah, those are the G2, man. It's got the drill bits.
There you go. Yeah.
It's the last drill bit you'll ever
need. Yeah, there we go.
But, I mean, and it goes with other people. Like, I've seen another social media post that was a woman was in line at a coffee shop, and there was some kind of law enforcement or something. Some guy with a gun in a holster, and like not a nylon Uncle Mike's holster. It was a real holster. And she was just, well, I could just take this man's gun and start shooting up woman, that's why that man is there.
Yeah.
Especially for people who come up with these, I just take the cop's gun and shoot everybody to prove that guns are bad. Well, guns are bad for you. Because you have bad ideas. I've got guns. I don't shoot nobody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, until that time comes, I hope I don't have to.
Right. But I mean, it's, I don't know, man. Social media is garbage. Facebook is absolute trash. Tell you what, I'll give my hint as to screw with Facebook. Go buy a burner smartphone. Like you get it at like a dollar store, Family Dollar, Dollar General, whatever, Walmart, something that takes like a prepaid card. You got to put $20 and enter the code into the phone. Don't buy that card. Just buy the phone, because sometimes you get them on sale cheap. I got a Samsung J something, J1 or whatever, for like $22. It's just a little tiny smartphone. I hooked it to Wi-Fi, made my Google account with my fake name, and immediately went on Facebook and made a fake Facebook account. I used a fake picture, and I completely lied about every bit of information on there. And for every one of my real friends I added like 2 random Africans.
Would one of those have been, I don't believe it for really though?
Dude, that's kind of like a good name right there. I kind of dig that name. But I mean, just to screw with their algorithms. And honestly, I didn't even use the Facebook just to like, you know, what everybody does. I needed to sell my truck, and I don't really want to like put an ad on Craigslist. I hate Craigslist. And this was the simplest way. And yeah, I say, yeah, screw with the system. Screw with Zuckerberg, man. Fake that crap as much as you can.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we hopefully, you know, won't have any more intrusions on, you know, being able to market guns individually. You know, you won't be considered in the business and have to go out and get any kind of, you know, additional licenses. What do you see going on in your neck of the woods here in the next couple weeks?
I have a gun show I have to go to this weekend. I actually have 2 tables. Me and my buddy have 2 tables. So Friday we go on, we set up, and then the show is actually not too far from us. So we're actually able to make it back each night, which saves about, you know, $150, $200 on hotel rooms. And so I'll be working a gun show this weekend. It's one of the smaller shows, but it's a smaller show in an area that's got kind of a boom going on in it. So there's some guys there with a little bit of cash, and you know, it's something I like doing. And my buddy's got stuff he wants to get rid of, and I don't know, I'm in the process of moving. So I mean, I've gotten rid of a lot, and I still got a lot, and you know, I got to pack everything into a truck, and I can't really put any weight in that camper trailer that I have. So I maybe moving some stuff around, but I'm going to take a few things up there. I'm going to price them outrageously high, and if they sell, they sell, and if they don't, I was going to pack them anyways.
Yeah, certainly. Well, you know, we don't have a whole lot going on here in the next couple of weeks. I have not seen a single advertisement for the next county's. What do you call it? They have a county fairgrounds, and that's where they tend to do the gun shows. They do have one, I believe, coming up in August, but that's you know, quite a few weeks off. Hopefully we can go ahead and get something in the area. We might go up a little bit farther north and see something. It's just a matter of seeing what's out there.
Well, you know, something I've noticed is the promoters for gun shows, unless they've been established at like one location, and, you know, repeatedly at that location at, you know, regular set dates, there's not a whole lot of innovation. And when it does come, it seems to be a day late and a dollar short. This show that I'm doing right now, this guy should have been doing these shows since the middle of 2013. He should have been doing a show every 2 months, and he's coming in late. You know, he started doing these shows probably about 6 months ago. He's had 4, and I think he kind of missed the boat. But I see that kind of like market timing and poor decision making all over the place in the firearms world. Like seriously, yeah. All over the place. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow, it's fast. Everybody, thank you very much. Do me a favor, throw a couple bucks Jules' way. Stick around, good radio. Nick, was great to be here, man.
Yep. You guys take it easy.
Aussie Skateboard, and you're listening to